So we're going to talk about why silence kills men inside. Why your silence, why your air of uncertainty kills them inside and gives you control over them. Now, not negative control in terms of manipulation, but there is a certain sense of anxiety when you're waiting for something to be revealed, when you don't know the outcome, that suspends you, that puts you in the space of suspended anxiety, where you don't know what's about to happen. In that state, people become more compliant. People listen to more what you say. In general, you have more control over them, right? But the point of this is not to give you control over them. The point of this is to allow you to see a man's real nature, because it gets them emotional. And the more emotional somebody becomes, the more real they begin to act, the more of themselves they begin to act. And that's when the mask slips off and you begin to see their real personality when they get emotional. So that's why applying the strategies that I'm going to teach, it's not about manipulating the guy. It's not about hurting the guy, but about putting yourself in a position where you can see through the clouds, through the smoke, through the mask, and know the guy for who he really is. All right. So let's begin this. By the way, we're having a seminar in London. Purchase the tickets in the description down below. We're doing a meditation walk. If you can't come, it's too late. And don't forget, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so that YouTube sends you notifications of these videos, because a lot of you guys are not getting notified. And also, I started a Discord. Why? A lot of you guys have been asking me for Discord. Click on the description down below to join the Discord. All right. So this question was asked by one of my Patreon supporters. All right. And she says that why is it that when you go silent on the guy, they start chasing you more? Right. So I decided to go about it. Look, essentially, humans need, even when it comes to the actual silence, right? Humans need noise. It's a recent adaptations for humans to need something always in the background. Before computers, people had the television, where they would keep the television turned on for all day. Why? Because humans are not comfortable with silence. And this uncomfortability with silence is really an adaptation. It's really a learned adaptation. Silence affects people mostly who have separation anxiety. Separation anxiety disorder commonly develops after a person experiences a major stress or loss, such as a death of a loved one, a pet, or change of schools, divorce, or some disaster that separates an individual from their loved ones. Additionally, having parents who are overly protective or intrusive might lead to separation anxiety. Right? So if you meet a man or a woman who've been through these types of situations, most likely your silence will affect them more, especially people who were neglected by their parents. Why? Because silence makes people feel uncomfortable, right? Humans want to understand. And when they don't fully understand you, they'll naturally be drawn to you. Not because you're someone special, but because humans naturally want to understand what they don't understand. A sense of uncertainty about the future generates strong threat or alert response in your limbic system. Your brain detects something is wrong, and your ability to focus on other issue diminishes. So that means when they feel through your silence that maybe your silence is because you're about to leave them, all of a sudden you become the center of their attention. All of a sudden, them not knowing what's inside of you, you keeping your cards close to you, they begin to lose interest in other things and focus on what's causing them this anxiety, and that's you. And that's why all of a sudden they'll begin to think of you. They'll begin to see you everywhere. They'll get obsessed with you. They'll want to see all your photos and posts and stuff like that, right? Because you're causing them a release of a stress hormone called what's it not oxytocin, not dopamine. You know what I'm talking about. I completely forgot about that stress hormone. Which one is it? Cortisol. There you go, cortisol. All right. Your brain doesn't like uncertainty. It's like a type of pain, something to be avoided. Certainty, on the other hand, feels rewarding, and we tend to steer towards it, even when it might be better for us to remain uncertain. All right? The brain likes to know what is going on by recognizing patterns in this world. It feels certain. And when somebody does not sense the patterns, cannot come to conclusions from the patterns you're throwing at them, Because at the end of the day, when we talk to people, we are creating patterns, whether we know it or not, because we are humans. We repeat ourselves. People never do things just once. We're creating a pattern. Silence always breaks that pattern. Silence creates a roadblock between me and having certainty. And if you cause uncertainty, all of a sudden, all of my brain will focus on you. All of my resources, my anxiety, everything will be focused on you. Yeah. Now, is it healthy? Of course not, right? But this pretty much depends on people's individual attachment styles, right? This usually has not much of an effect on people with secure attachment styles. They usually feel, which is 50% of the population, they usually feel the anxiety and find a way to cope with it without using you, right? Ladies and gentlemen, my apologies. Like an addiction, to anything, when the craving for certainty is met, there is a sensation of reward. At low levels, for example, predicting where your foot will land as you walk, the reward is often unnoticeable, except when your foot doesn't land the way you predicted, which equates with uncertainty. The pleasure of prediction is more acute when you listen to music based on repeating patterns, right? And if you want them to like you more when they meet you, check out this public service announcement that I have for you guys. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys haven't purchased any of my courses, we have a special bundle deal for everyone. So that you can purchase all of my courses, meaning you could purchase the psychological game of attraction, natural chemistry, and nice girl, along with all of the bonuses. Originally, if you purchase everything without the bundle, it'll be around $500, to be honest with you. But right now, if you guys purchase it with the bundle, you guys will be able to get all of these courses: psychological game of attraction, which is for women who are single; natural chemistry, which is for women who are in a relationship; nice girl, which is a course on assertiveness, along with all of the bonuses: social mastery, practical mastery in terms of how to master anything, social mastery in terms of how to master your social skills, and the laws of human nature, wherein it's part of the Robert Greene book club I used to have. All of these, naturally, like I said, it's $500. Now you get it at $394, which is essentially 20% off everything. But if you guys want to purchase a more affordable bundle, you guys can purchase the bundle without the bonuses, and that will be at $224 rather than the $300. Well, rather than the $293 that you guys would naturally purchase it. So you could purchase it with the bundle or without the bundle. You could purchase it with the bonuses or without the bonuses. It's all of the work that I put in the last 4 years, in the last 5 years, actually, all of the research that I've done. And this course, rather than watching all of my videos, and because they could be random and you could sort of like lose the big picture because there's just so many videos, you guys get all of the content condensed in a course. Trust me, people, if you guys purchase this, you won't regret it. If you haven't purchased it, hopefully this will push you towards it, because it's something that I believe in, and everyone who's purchased my course have been satisfied with it. And if they didn't like it, I always give their money back. I have never rejected a refund. All right. So purchase it right now. Click on the description down below where it says purchase the bundle, and I'll see you guys inside. It feels good to be right. It feels good to get it right. But also, if you want to increase the feeling, you create a little uncertainty, and then you give them certainty. And the silence, and silence could be anything, right? It could be that you don't tell people how you feel. It could be that you pull away a little bit. It could be that you are on vacation and you don't respond. It could be that you don't respond for 10 minutes. It could be that you don't respond for 20, 30, 40, 50 minutes. It could be that you take a whole day to respond. The point is, in that state of mind, you're their center, right? Now, remember, the brain is active when it's anticipating something, right? Rather than when it literally receives it. In other words, the human brain gets more active when it's waiting for you. When it's trying to find out what's going on inside of you, it gets more active. It gets more engaged, actually. It's actually more fun for the brain, even though it's calorically taxing, right? So it actually gets more engaged and focuses on you more when they're trying to figure you out But once they figure you out, they go on to the next thing. Now, that don't mean that they will stop loving you. That just means that you're not their center as much because now they fully have you. It's like when your arm hurts, when your arm breaks, you're not focused on your arm when it's healthy. But all of a sudden, when it breaks, you're Googling everything about your arm. It's the same thing here, right? Where all of your attention is on you because now you're threatening their self-esteem through your silence. So we always feel anxious if there's risk of rejection, right? So it's kind of like when you always want to make the person, and this is unfortunate, right? It's unfortunate. Always make the person feel like that this acceptance that I have of you is not unconditional. You should always find a way to communicate that is not unconditional. Because if you show that you unconditionally love them despite what they do, they're not going to feel that fear of rejection one day. And that means that they're going to take you for granted. You know, you want to keep their brains active. Always keep them engaged. Always think about the neurochemistry of the person's brain when you're talking to them. Anxiety it's good sometimes. Now, how do you create some uncertainty outside of silence, right? Outside of pulling away, silent treatment, or even that's why people do pulling like when you do the silent, when you do when you pull back and you don't talk to an ex, they usually come back when you do that. But what are other ways to use silence to create more uncertainty? How do you do that? For example, let's just say you're talking to someone and they're friends with you. One of the ways to insinuate that you like them, one of the ways to get in their heads, let's just say we're both friends, right? And we're both platonic, right? And you ask me, Alexis, what did you do this morning? Right? And me and you, and I've always looked at you like this. Of course, yeah. Nah, I'm just chilling. But this time I look at you like, what I did this weekend? Girl, you don't want to know. Right? I give you a look. Like, that look could mean anything. It could mean anything. What could it mean? Does it mean that I did something? Am I looking at you? The point is there's a certain look. Now, I know I'm doing it in a silly way, right? But you know when you're talking to someone and it's platonic, but then they give you a look and you ask yourself, what look was that? Was that like a sexy look? Was that a flirtatious look? Like a look that you never expected. Like we're all friends and all of a sudden you give me like a sexual look and then you change the topic, right? That look of silence, that silent look of like, whatever that look is, they think, okay, what the hell did that mean? Was that romantic? Was that sexual? Was that friendly? And the key is to make sure that it remains ambiguous. Or it can even be a touch, right? Like a touch of the leg. Friendly touch of the leg, right? Or it could be that maybe you guys are out and you hug your friend and you hug them in a close embrace and you look at them, you look at your friend eyeball to eyeball, and then you let your friend go. That was like almost like a romantic embrace, but was it? Maybe it was friendly. If you're in that situation, a friend who was once just friendly now takes on another level. Now you're wondering what that was. Studies show when you think somebody likes you, you actually end up liking them more, especially if you don't know whether or not it was really them. When you do that type of stuff, it actually makes the person like you more. Why? Because the person doesn't know what that look was. And when they don't know what that look was, based on what we teach in here, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to be thinking of you. And over time, they could possibly crystallize an image of you in a romantic way. Why? Because you gave them a look. Everything was friendly. Everything was cordial. And then you insinuated a little sexuality. I remember one time I was talking to this girl. And we were friendly. It was purely friendly. There was no sexuality behind it. And then all of a sudden she said something about sex. I don't know. And then she came to my ear and said, she was talking like this. And then all of a sudden she changed up her voice to more of a sexual voice. And she was like, but I would never do something like that. And she said it to my ear. And I was like, oh my God, that was so sexual. And then she went back to normal. After that, I started thinking of her. I didn't know what to feel. It was an ambivalent feeling, and the reason why is because I didn't know what that meant. She put me in a state of uncertainty. She imbued that sexuality, took it back, but because I saw a glimpse of her sexuality, now I'm thinking, was that on purpose or not? It's better to insinuate your love for someone than to directly talk about it. Your silence about it will have more insinuating power. Other ways to insinuate is through a look, a gesture. You could give them a look, an underlook to a target. You can say something about now, but give him or her a seductive look to say that what you're talking about has more meaning, right? The underload. It's almost like saying someone's like, let's just say we're friends, and we're like, well, a lot of times friends fall in love. A lot of times, good friends end up being the best types of relationship. So I wouldn't know, right? And I know this is shitty. I'm not a good actor, people, but the point is that you get them thinking, and then maybe you give them a look afterwards. You get them thinking. That's the whole point. Like, she's like, was that directed at me? Like, was that like an insinuation? What's going on here? And the key is to never give that certainty. Let them think, what the fuck did that mean? Was that a sexual thing? Was that a friendly thing? I don't know. If you put them in that state, that's a perfect state. You can say something, but okay, the undertone could be used to be more, could be used to look more challenging and dangerous. The face speaks on its own language. You can insinuate through changing your pitch or your pace of talking, sounding provocative as you say something that's banal. You have to realize that people are always looking into your face to read you. Give them mixed signals, right? So that means you could talk about love, or you could talk about love, or even saying like talking about like what you do yesterday. You could say, "Nah, yesterday I went to a TV show and I went to get some groceries and it was really good. I just got broccoli, garlic, and meatballs, and they were so good. You would love those meatballs. Anyway, so how was your day? What'd you do? Right? And then you change the tone, right? So you could talk normal, and then just I don't know, man. Like just you change up the tone. Now, what does that mean? I don't fucking know what that means. The point is that you want them to ask what that means. That type of silence where you're not really saying what you feel about them, but saying it through your nonverbals is what you really want to do. You want them to see that you like them, not hear it. That lack of consistency between what you say and the words will put them in a state of uncertainty, will get their brains working more towards thinking about you, and hopefully they could get obsessed about you because they can't figure you out, right? And that's the power of silence. Silence is really a powerful thing, people. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys want to work with me one-on-one, go to mindfulattraction.org.